This is Peyton Jones with Church Planter Magazine, and I am here with David Sylvester. He is the pastor of Calvary Chapel of York, England. He also runs the Bible College there, which is training the next generation of church planters. And Dave, good to have you.
It's good to be here.
And Dave, also, you have one of the most impressive book collections I've ever seen in my life. It probably should be in an antiquarian library, but it came to you effortlessly, really, didn't it?
Yeah. It was just, you just find books there, you know. England's filled with books, so.
You we're not going to talk about your books the whole time, but tell me about some of what you got.
Well, one good find was I was in a book in Cape and Ray, and somebody said, "So you're interested?" The guy that I was checking out, buying some books, and he said, "Well, you like theology?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And he says, "Well, F.F. Bruce just passed away, and so we have a lot of his library in the back." And so I ended up rummaging through a lot of it and getting his old hymn book and getting a number of books from F.F. Bruce, just signed copies, even a book of his when he was just a kid, one of his little Bibles,
You had something, didn't you? Wasn't it something of E. Stanley Jones that was by his own hand?
No, it was Sangster. It was his first trip to the Holy Land, 1934. Right. All hand-typed notes, snapshots from his own camera and stuff. That was a great find.
It's amazing. And anyways, Dave, what I want to talk to you about is the time that I've spent with you, although very briefly. One thing that stuck out to me was that you very much took seriously the fact that you, in order to accomplish what you've got to do, you need to walk with God.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's our source. He's everything that we need. Apart from him, we can do nothing. And so, if you take that for what it says, that's it, isn't it? We can't do a thing. And so we've, right from the very beginning, we put a strong emphasis on prayer. Not only personally, but as a church. And so we set up prayer meetings basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we did do Saturday night for a while, and of course Sunday morning. But we've set them up so that we have 2 morning sessions. Wednesday, Friday is 7 a.m., and then Tuesdays and Thursdays lunchtime, so people can come that can take a break during their lunch break and pray. But one of the interesting things about now, after almost 20 years there in the UK, church has been going for about 17 years, is that everything we have, whether it's from every brick to every chair to everything that we have, you can tie them back to the prayer meetings. Everything. And so it's,
You guys you were meeting in a building, and talk about you've got some really unique, you've renovated a coffin warehouse that you literally prayed empty until you got it. Yeah. You've been praying for that place for years, right behind you guys, and that opened up. You've got some unique stuff going on. Where are some of the other unique building locations you got?
Well, we started in the gatehouse into the city, Walmgate Bar. Bar not being bar with bar, but it's a bar, from the Roman barring the gates, So it was the old gatehouse into the city. It's where the watchman used to live. And so we ended up getting that building. We still have it. It's where our coffee shop is. But it's where the church started. It's only about 940 square feet, I think, upstairs and downstairs. And so we ended up with a coffee shop, Bible college there, church meeting there. We should do 2 services in the morning and about 100 people each service, and 900 square feet. It was amazing.
And what's amazing about this coffee shop is that literally the portcullis goes up at the back of the room. Yeah. It's all stone, and there's like syrups in the square holes from the portcullis and bags of coffee. And you guys actually started doing your own coffee. You're kind of legendary in York. The Barbican, by the way, is built into the castle wall. This is not a normal space. I lived in the UK for 12 years. This was really a unique location. God really opened those doors for you guys.
That was wonderful. It's actually a national monument. There's only 3 in all of Europe, and there's it's the only one in the UK that's actually connected to the city wall. Wow. I don't know how we ended up with a national monument, but I do. It's the Lord. The Lord gave it to us. So
I think this is what church planners need to hear more than anything, because we're seeing so many books about methods. We're seeing so many guys talking about strategy, coaching. The church right now is obsessed with leadership books, leadership models, leadership this, leadership seminars. And to just hear a guy who says, everything that I do is by prayer. I walk with the Lord. I depend on God. And I asked your permission before this interview, because it's kind of weird to, I know, be sitting in your chair and having me talk to you about, being a man of God, being a man of prayer. But I know this from you personally. So what I want to do is just ask you what, no boasting, no nothing, but literally just, I know these things are connected in your ministry. What does prayer look like for you? What is your time with God, maintaining that connection, that dependence on the Holy Spirit? How does that look for you?
Well, first of all, it's based out of a desire just to know Him, and I think that's important, that we're just establishing that relationship with Him personally, to find out what His heart is and everything. But you have all the elements of the warfare that goes with it, and like I said, apart from Him, we can do nothing. But we are in a battle. We need to be able to stand and withstand, and having done all to stand, so to speak, we've got to be able, we've got to be connecting with Him. And the spiritual battle that we are praying against, the demonic forces that are against us, that are intensely against us. I don't think we have any idea how intensely against us the enemy is, and he's ruthless, and he wants to destroy us. He wants to completely wipe out the work of God. In the UK, he hates us, and he doesn't slow down, and I just feel like, in the mornings, I not only want to get up and just meet with the Lord, as, just because I love Him, but, it's a battle. That's a battlefield, and so I like getting out on prayer walks, and just going out in the morning early and just, taking that time. Just to hear from Him, but it's His work. I think that's the bottom line. It's His work. And
you mentioned, and you just say it in passing, I like to go on prayer walks, but when I was staying at your house, I saw your wellies. Now, to an American, a wellie is, a big rubber boot. It's serious walking when you put some wellies on, man, because it's a wet country, right? And you're in York, so you got the Yorkshire Dells, the moors. I mean, it is some of the most stupendous walking, I think, in the world. Yeah. And so you're taking advantage, but you're not just taking like casual 5-minute strolls. I mean, talk about your prayer walks.
Well, they're
told you I was going to embarrass you.
Yeah, no. Where it says that Jesus, he got up a great while before dawn, and he went out, and the Lord really ministered to me, just out of that I needed to get out, because what it's like in the morning. You usually roll out of bed and you think, I want to go do this and that, and it's easy to procrastinate in the morning. And I thought, well, he went out and he found that solitary place, and then he prayed, and so I took that literally and just started going out. So I'd go out early in the morning, and giving enough time so that you can actually meet with the Lord. So I like to have several hours where you're not feeling rushed, and so you just get out there and walk several hours and just find a place in the woods or whatever, and just get alone with Him and the Bible and pray, and walking the fields as well, just walking up and down the tractor tire spots in the fields, and it's great too, because they're just wide enough to walk down, and you have all these crops growing, sometimes waist high, and I tell you, they're walking down the wheat fields when the wheat's just right. And you're reading the Word, and it's talking about them going through the wheat fields, or their fields are right into harvest or whatever, just some of the best times have been doing that, and so I still do it. I love it,
It's amazing, because when I've talked to you, there's always a sense that, you've got a lot of stuff going on all at one time. You guys, you're roasting coffee. You got a coffee shop that's the most popular coffee shop in the city of York. You got a booming church. You're running a Bible college. When I talk to you, you just got peace. There's peace around you. Even if everything's raging around you, you got peace. And I think that that's something that church planning is chaotic. There's no rhythm to it. It starts and stops and jolts and jerks back and forth. And to find somebody who is taking that seriously, that their walk in the Spirit is at the heart of everything. It just, I guess I want to interview you because really, if nothing else, you're just living proof of what we read about in the Bible.
Well, it's kind of, I feel like it's a life or death thing, you know, really. It has to be by His Spirit. You know, it really does, because we can come up with a plan, but at the end of the day, it's like Peter and John going up to the temple to pray. I mean, how many times did Jesus even walk past him? You know, but this was the day, and you know, the Lord wanted to do something, and they, you know the story. And I mean, how many? They didn't advertise. They didn't have any money. You know, it tells us that. You know, but all these people ended up getting saved because the Lord had a plan at that time, and they needed to be connected into the Spirit, by the Spirit, to be able. They fastened their eyes on that man. And then they spoke, you know, silver and gold have I none, but in the name of Jesus, rise up and walk. And how many thousands of people came to the Lord, you know, and within about 3 hours, they had had thousands to the church, you know, but it was by the Spirit. And you know, it's just, you know, we have to stay connected to the source. We can either dig cisterns or we can stay connected to the source. And if you've ever dug a cistern in a rock, you know, I used to dig underground forts in the soft dirt. I know what it's like to dig a big hole in the ground. You know, I don't want to dig a cistern that's going to leak, because they will leak. The Lord will make sure that they leak. But, and it's so much easier. I mean, you think about it, it's just absolutely crazy. Who would dig a cistern in a rock versus sitting by a spring? Yeah. And yet we sit there and do it, and God says, my people have committed 2 evils. He calls it an evil to leave, you know, the fountain, the source of, you know, that divine flow, the divine, just that power coming into your life, to try to dig a cistern. But there's something about digging a cistern that's appealing, because we can work, we can get a pick, we can get people involved. But, you know, we need to be staying connected to the, what's that saying? Be underneath the spout where the blessings come out, you know. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things before we close is I can remember when I spent some time with you, you kept having your iPhone alarm go off at regular intervals. Yeah. What was that all about?
Well, it basically what it was is I ended up on these walks. I started going through the Gospels, and it wasn't an intentional kind of plan. I just ended up finishing all 4 Gospels, and I thought, you know what? I was so blessed with that. I just want to do it again, because I really wanted to just see Jesus in the Gospels and just focus on Him in the mornings. And so I did that, but ended up turning into 5 years of just being in the Gospels in the morning, just several hours, just spending time, just hearing the heart of the Lord. And it was such a rich time for me that I thought, you know, I just want this for everywhere else in the Bible as well. And so what I did is I thought, well, I'll come up with a reading plan, as you know, as it were, throughout the day, kind of based on the watches. You know, they'd have a watch every 3 hours. Yeah. And so I thought, well, how can I get through the whole Bible and kind of just keep going around the whole Bible during these different watches? And so basically, I thought I'll start with what was written first. So from 3 to 6 in the morning, that's the Torah. You know, 6 a.m. is the Gospels, 9 a.m. is the Psalms, noon is the poetical books other than Job. You know, I'll just do the Psalms, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, and then 3 o'clock is the rest of the New Testament, and then 6 o'clock in the evening is the prophets, and then in the evening at 9 o'clock before I go to bed, it's into the old-time history books, you know, get the good stories before you go to... Yeah. And so that, it's great, because you end up just covering a lot of the Word, but, you know, it was hard the first year, you know, because my phone alarm would go off, and I would, you know, and it's such an interruption. I thought, man, I don't have time to read this, you know, and sometimes I'd want to throw my phone against the wall, you know, just stop ringing, you know. This is such an interruption, but I thought, but that's exactly what I want it to be. Yeah. I want to stop, like David, where he went 6 steps when he was bringing the ark back in. Remember, he went 6 steps, built an altar, and that's not the most efficient way to get the altar back into Jerusalem. Yeah. But it was the most effective way, because, you know, it was times of worship and a time of him being altered and changed, you know, as he was bringing the ark back up. And I thought, I want it to be an interruption. I want to stop my own momentum, and I want to get into the Word of God and have him, you know, change my thinking, change my direction, stop me where I'm, you know, because that's exactly what it felt like. The momentum is going, and it's like, I got to stop and read. I don't have time. And I thought, actually, I don't have time, I don't have time not to do this,
Amen.
And so what happened was that after a year, I thought, I'm going to do this again. And so I did it again, and that's been going on for probably 5 or 6 years, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It has transformed me personally. It's just, I don't want to read anything else, and I don't want to, this may sound strange, but I really don't. And it's great. I look forward to them like a person addicted to soap operas looks forward to. I just, man, look at what's up. It's David with Goliath, or something like that,
Awesome.
So yeah. Anyway.
So what has that done to your prep time? I'm imagining as I'm talking to you, that your prep time for a message is so much less. I think it was Spurgeon that said, "Read yourself full, preach yourself empty." Sounds like you're filling up. You're like building the storehouse and the treasure house up all the time. I would imagine when you come to preparation, just flowing.
Well, that's, with the new technology, it's great with the phone because I don't know how you are when you're prepping, or when you get a thought and you start writing. You go to write it down, and then you get distracted into more of the thought, and then you kind of forget where you're at, and it's like you can lose kind of the essence of what came into your mind in the first place. And so with the phone, as I'm walking, as God's just ministering, I just speak it into the phone, record it, and that's it. Send it off as an email to my computer, and when I come back, I have all these emails, and there are these different thoughts, and I can kind of bring them into the message,
That's brilliant.
So it's
brilliant. Thank God.
It works
Siri,
for me.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do Siri actually. Well, I've started to use Siri a little bit.
So you get back messages like, God is a cow from Mars.
Yeah, or worse.
You're like, dang it, that's not what I meant when I was out in the field.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, one last thing. You mentioned, and this, I just got to stop you here. You mentioned the morning watches, and you said from 3 to 6. What time are you getting up in the morning?
It depends. Whenever the Lord gets me up.
Okay. Are we talking 3 sometimes, 4 o'clock sometimes?
Yeah, 2, 3, 4.
What time do you go to bed?
Well, 11 o'clock sometimes, 10, 11 o'clock,
You're just a man that needs very little sleep.
No, I need more sleep, but I'm just a man that literally, I feel like it's a do or die situation. And those times that are really early, obviously I'd rather be sleeping at those times, but I kind of have this deal that if I can go back to sleep, I will. And if I can't, I'll get up. And if it's the enemy distracting me, then I'm going to go pray against.
Amen.
And if
Amen.
it's, but usually I don't. I mean, on a general rule, I don't. I like to just get up, 4 to 5 kind of a thing. But
that's awesome.
Those early times have been some of the really precious times. I don't know. Yeah, they're just special times,
I spent a few days with you back in 2007, and I, for the next year until my baby was born, went on prayer walks every morning until I had a newborn to care for in the morning. But, just sitting here talking to you, thank you so much for your time. You are a person who makes me want to go deeper with the Lord, and I thank you for that. And so this interview is a bit more personal for me, but I thank you for being the man of God that you are, for all that you're doing. You were proof of what Wesley and Luther said, that I in order to accomplish what I got to, I need to spend quality time, hours before the Lord. And Dave, you do more than just about anyone I know, and you probably take more time out for the Lord to do those things, to seek Him before you do that. So, man, proof's in the pudding. Thanks for being with us today, and you're quite a mean bluegrass player as well, which I don't know is a very well-known fact about you. But I mean, you've been on stage with some greats, man. You're one of the top guys, I think, in the world.
Well, long time ago.
Well, you're a man of many talents.
No, but the Lord is really good, and hearing things like this about, you know what it's like, but it's kind of one of those things where
I told you I'd embarrass you.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, But the Lord is so good. He really is, and you just want to know Him. That's really, I think that's one of the biggest things for the Bible college students, as far as my heart for them is serving Him based out of just loving Him and knowing Him. And so for me, the whole side of devotional life, especially not the dutiful side of it, because they need to just know the Lord for who He is and want to be with them, really. And when you want to be with Him, you want to serve Him. And so, really it's just, the Lord is good,
Amen.
And,
Amen, man. Well, Dave, thanks for being on, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And God bless you in York.
God bless you. Thanks,
if you
Peyton.
guys want to train with Dave, Dave runs Calvary Chapel Bible College up in York. It's a beautiful place. Don't think you could study in a more beautiful location. You're in a castle, and you can roast coffee, learn the Bible, and be discipled by a guy like Dave. So thanks for joining us. God bless.
Thank you, Peyton.